Okay, perfect, sir. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a wonderful guest with us, one who we are very humbled to have, and that is none other than Judge Warren Fitzgerald Muhammad. And we look forward to getting some information from him as well as some inspiration from him. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing fine by the grace of Allah, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well by Allah's grace.
Yes, sir. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, first of all, so many people are showing love. Please continue to like, share, and comment on YouTube and continue to support the People's Podcast. The first question we want to know, sir, is how did you get into becoming a judge?
Well, it really was somewhat of an afterthought. I had practiced law for over 30 years. And I was doing okay. I was doing well and content, but I wanted to do something else. And I just contacted the city and applied for a position as a judge with the city of Houston. And I received a letter saying that there were no positions available. And so I just kind of tossed it in the trash and forgot all about it. And about 2 years later, I got a letter in the mail telling me that I had been accepted, to interview for the position, quite to my surprise. So at that point, I went to the interviews, and I knew one of the judges who was on the panel. And my very first interview, I said, well, we're gonna clear the air. First interview. So the first thing I told them that I am a Muslim, a member of the Nation of Islam, one of the leadership of the Honorable Minister Min Farrakhan, the teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Does anybody have any problems? And they said they had no problems with that at all. And we proceeded with the interview. But I wanted to get that out front rather than have somebody whispering in the back, this, that, or the third. So we just met it head on.
Yes, sir. So do you mean to say that you can be a Muslim and still be successful in the courtroom and in life, even though you upfront told them that you were a member of the Nation of Islam?
Absolutely, brother. I have found that to be, in many ways, the key to success. Wow. Is being who you are and being comfortable in your own skin and not fearing, as the Holy Quran says, not fearing the censure of any censures.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Just be honest about it up front. Those who don't like it, like we say, like it or lump it,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But I have found that as we have taught that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the two of them have done for us, is actually made friendships for us in all walks of life. And sometimes we just don't realize the friendships that we have. So we can't be afraid to be who we are and represent who we represent.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. My sister Miriam sends the greetings, as well as Sister Captain Brenda Muhammad sends the greetings as well. And thank everyone who has continued to watch the People's Podcast. Boom. Okay. Yes, sir. So where did you, which university did you matriculate from, sir?
I started off with a scholarship to Prairie View, A&M University. I was on an athletic scholarship. And due to some injuries playing football, I had to stop playing and eventually forfeit my scholarship. So then I went to University of Houston. And then I made another try at football at the Virginia State College in Petersburg, Virginia. And then by then I was a junior in college. I decided after a little try at that it was time to get a degree and move on. So I went back to University of Houston and got my bachelor's from the University of Houston, and then went to Thurgood Marshall School of Law at Texas Southern University for law school.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And what position did you play in football?
I was a quarterback and a defensive back.
Okay, yes, sir. And what type of quarterbacks, were you inspired by when you played football?
Doug Williams, Grambling University. Yes, absolutely. So, and I must mention one other brother. That was a brother from Houston. He was an All-American in high school and went on to be an All-American at Tennessee State University. His name was Eldridge Dickey. A lot of people don't know Eldridge Dickey because he was drafted by the Raiders, and then they switched his position to a wide receiver so that Kenny Stabler could have a chance. But I had a chance to see Eldridge Dickey while I was still a youngster, early in junior high. My sister went to school with him. And when I saw Eldridge Dickey, I knew I wanted to try to be a quarterback.
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Amazing. All right. And people, thank you all for listening to Watch People's Podcast. Well, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
I was in my early teens when I first began to hear something about this man, Muhammad. My father put me in a martial arts class with a family friend who was an advanced degree black belt. And I started training under him at about 12 or 13 years old. And everyone knew there was something different about him. And what I found out is that he had been in the first as a member of the Nation of Islam. So he first started dropping little bits on me.
Yes,
he
sir.
wouldn't just come out and start teaching, but he started dropping a little knowledge here and there and kind of piqued my interest. And then when I was in the 11th grade at 17, a friend of mine's brother came back from the Vietnam War, and he played a vinyl record, a 12-inch vinyl record that had, one was Malcolm X, and the other was a man, he had the strangest voice. And he kept saying, God told me, and God told me this, and God told me that. And I had, the hair was standing up on my arm. I had goosebumps listening to this man talk about how he sat in the car with God and he talked with God. I said, Esther, this man is saying he met God. He said, yes, that's Elijah Muhammad. That's what he teaches. My life was changed forever at that point.
Praise be to Allah. And where did you join the nation?
Mosque 45, Houston, Texas. That was after I heard that album by Elijah Muhammad. Of course, I graduated high school and went to college and started going to different colleges. So I never was settled for too long of a period, but I continued to read the books, Message to the Black Man, Fall of America, all of the Messenger's books. And then finally I finished and went to law school and was able to be in one place for a good amount of time. And the summer after my first year of law school, a friend of mine gave me a Holy Quran. And that was my first, I'd read the teachings, but I'd never read the Quran. And when I read the Quran, I went to the nearest mosque and raised my hand and joined. Now, this was 1977. So I thought I was joining the Nation of Islam, and little did I know that the imam had taken over and was changing the teachings, but I kept thinking something strange about this place. So one Sunday they made an announcement that Minister Farrakhan had left the nation, and they were making mockery of it and laughing and joking about it. But I was familiar, having studied the teachings. I knew who Minister Farrakhan was. So I said, well, if Minister Farrakhan is out of here, I'm out of here too. So I left that same Sunday that I got the announcement that he left. And then later, as he began to rebuild, I found a mosque here in Houston and joined in 1989 was when I actually got registered.
Yes, sir. Well, okay, let's go back to them saying that the minister was leaving, right? So they said the minister left the nation, and you knew who the Minister Farrakhan was in the 70s?
Yes, I did, brother. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was watching television, and there was this television program came on. I think it was called Soul to Soul or something like that. But they had the minister on, and the minister had on this beige FOI uniform.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they asked him a question, and the minister went throughout the whole universe. He started talking about the distance of the earth to the sun and the speed that the earth travels and the light striking the earth and causing it to rotate. I didn't know at the time he was into the actual facts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I was just amazed. I said, this brother just took us all the way through the universe to answer this question. And I just never forgot the Honorable Louis Farrakhan at that point. And of course, I began to follow him.
Praise be to Allah. And then when you hear the ministers coming, rebuilding the nation again, and you go to Houston, who's the minister? Who's the cat? Like what's it like back then?
Okay, I started the minister was pretty much underground, and I had friends that would always let me know if the minister was coming to town. So I saw him speak at small high school gymnasiums. Believe it or not, he spoke at Forestbrook. There must have been 100 people in the gymnasium. He was teaching. So everywhere he would go that I would hear about, I would try to go see him. So once he came to speak at Prairie View A&M University, and I was standing in line, and I always credit this brother with getting me to join the nation. A brother came out and made an announcement. He was Brother Jeffrey. He's passed now. May Allah be pleased with him. He came in and said, all FOI report to the rear, to the back of the auditorium. And he said, somebody said, what's the FOI? He said, if you're a FOI, you know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, you don't belong. Well, I knew what a FOI was, right? But I couldn't go back with the FOI because I hadn't joined. So I knew right then, I said, I got to join because I got to be a FOI.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And not long after that, they had a public showing of the minister speaking, and a sister had a table set up with some books. And I asked her where was the mosque. She got in touch with me, told me where the mosque was. I visited, and the rest was history.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Now, how he's speaking at this small venues and things like that. What was it about him that made you think that he was divinely guided?
He was the minister. I mean, what else can I say? He was the minister. Yes, and I had studied the teachings. I had read Message to the Black Man and Our Savior Has Arrived. So I was very familiar with the teachings, and I knew that he was teaching the teachings every time I would hear him, because bear in mind, the mosque was no longer the mosque. There was no mosque. It was the masjid, and the teachings there were different. So I was able to distinguish between what the imam was teaching and what Minister Farrakhan was teaching. And I knew that what Minister Farrakhan was teaching was the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, which I agreed with and had come to believe. So it wasn't difficult for me to follow him.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. How did your family and friends feel about you accepting the teachings?
Oh, brother. They prayed over me. They laid hands on me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They told me I was crazy. They didn't know what to do with me. But over time, it took time, and took me being persistent and grounded in what I believe and the way I wanted to live my life. They have not joined, but they have all come around. They make, when they cook for the family, they make sure that there are meals there with no pork in it, so that I can eat. And in most cases, they won't even use pork themselves anymore. They'll give me the greetings. Now, I had a time with my mother when I legally changed my name and added Muhammad. Well, we went round and round. She would say, I didn't name you Muhammad. So I would tell her, I say, you didn't name me Fitzgerald either. White man gave us that name. But she embraced it when she saw, you have to be, you can't be obnoxious with your family, but you have to be firm. And let them know that they're not going to sway you from what you believe. You have to stand on your belief. They'll come around.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And Brother Stephen Wayne Muhammad sends the greetings and said, may Allah forever be pleased, Brother Jeffrey. And Brother Arvin says, you look so young. And thank everyone who continues to watch the People's Podcast, sir. My next question for you is, what was your favorite court case to be a judge over? Like, what was your favorite court case?
Actually, my most memorable court case was shortly after I joined the mosque. Minister Farrakhan was scheduled to come to Houston for his first public address in Houston.
Mm.
So this must have been around 1980. I mean, I was brand new in the mosque, just got my ex and everything. And the local minister, at the time, he was Minister Robert Muhammad. He's now Minister Abdul Halim Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
They were contracting for the event, and he asked me to take a look at the contract with the venue. And in reading the contract, I immediately told him, do not sign it, because I thought it was unjust. They wanted to collect a commission off the sale of the books and the tapes of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Mm.
And I disagreed with that. I thought that was a point we should fight over. And they refused to negotiate with us. They told us that all institutions abide by that contract, but I thought I saw a loophole in the language. So I filed a lawsuit against the city of Houston.
Mm.
And that's when I got their attention when I filed a lawsuit. We had a court date coming up for an injunction to prohibit them from enforcing that contract on us. And at that point, they called up and asked to have a meeting, and they agreed to change the language and rewrite the contract so that they would not get any commission off the books and tapes of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's probably the proudest moment of my legal career.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Beautiful. And what advice would you give to those who are going into the field of law?
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had a meeting with the attorneys in the nation, and there was a good group of us. We met in Chicago and we had dinner with him. He told us that, which I had to bear witness to it, of course, that the practice of law is toxic because there's so much injustice in it that goes on in it. And we see our people, I mean, for one, a lot of our people are doing wrong, but the system does wrong to our people in an inordinate way. And the minister told us that we had to stay in our teachings and stay in our lessons, because our lessons would be the winds beneath our wings to keep us above the toxicity of our profession.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the advice for those, especially those who are in the nation who aspire to go into the legal field, is to stay grounded in the teachings. Stay grounded in the teachings, stay grounded in the lessons, listen to the lecture of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan often. You know, a lot of times I go to bed at night listening to the theology of time and things
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
And it's our lessons that grounds us in knowing how to deal not only with the white man and the legal system, but deal with the way that our people have been made other than ourselves. And it has helped. The legal profession is almost, I think it's the number one profession in terms of alcohol and drug abuse. Mm. Many of the lawyers and judges are on alcohol and drugs and painkillers and everything. And it is through the teaching that has, I thank Allah for it, has kept me above any of those vices that would affect my life.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, sir. And thank everyone. We see all your comments. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the People's Podcast. I have a quick 60-second commercial break for Judge Muhammad. 1 second as we get together. Let me get a quick for all the sponsors of the People's Podcast. Thank you very much. If you would like to be a sponsor or a donor of the People's Podcast, please 1 second. Please cash app to the People's Podcast. And I want to thank Judge Muhammad for taking time out of his busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast again. We have a few more questions, and someone just gave me something else to bring up to you. Here we go. Boom. All right, perfect. All right, 1 second, Judge Muhammad, and thank everyone who's continuing to watch the People's Podcast. All right, here we go. My brother Rashad, Street Premiere Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does an excellent job of television and film editing. Please reach out if you need anything from him. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, both of which are available on Amazon. Make sure you go out and get those. My sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. We love our tiny dancers. Also, she teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, but right here in Atlanta, Georgia. If you want to hit her up in studio, please reach out. We love our tiny dancers. Thank you very much. The MTS Car Bros, any make, any model, any year, 30 to 50% off. They'll ship vehicles to you all across the country. Thank you very much for their support. Also, Raw Communications. She offers copy editing, project management, content development, and media relations and consulting. Also, project management, content development. Oh, if you're writing a book, please contact Raw Communications today. Make sure you are contact Raw Communications today. The Elevated Places right there in Houston, Texas, where I am, what God says I am, an amazing school out of Houston, Texas, where they're making young kings and queens. So shout out to the Elevated Places of Houston, Texas. We're coming right back to Judge Muhammad. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you all across the country. Thank you very much, Brother Kenneth, for your sponsorship. Brother Enoch out of Chicago, Hip Hop Detox. It empowers youth and young adults towards a healthy lifestyle choices and a productive life using a holistic approach. Thank you very much. Asiatic Minds Online School. For those back into the school systems without a mask or dealing with the pandemic, reach out to asiaticminds.com. Asiaticminds.com. They do an amazing job launching this fall. Sister Latasha Muhammad, Queen is I, Poetry and Apparel, and amazing poetry and amazing apparel. Thank you very much. Fresh and Clean LLC, sanitizing.com. Also, Elevated Places Incorporated, Adult Counseling, Youth Counseling, Life Management, 229-344-1474. We're coming right back to Judge Muhammad. Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 Disinfecting Cleaning Services out of Chicago. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Thank you all very much for the sponsorships this month. And thank you very much. If you'd like to be a sponsor or donor, please reach out to the Cash App the People's Podcast. Thank you. Okay, Judge Muhammad. I have my next question for you. How was it leading up to the Million Man March? And how did that affect you?
That was some exciting times there, brother. As you know, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan was on a nationwide tour holding men's meetings.
Yes, sir.
And we were all mobilized on supporting the Million Man March effort. And when it came time for the minister to come to Houston, of course, we had to find a location for him to speak, and all of the major locations and venues and institutions were turning us away. So we like to say here in Houston, when they oppose us, they make their biggest mistake because Allah makes us the winner every time. And Minister Abdul Halim spoke with a local minister, Reverend C.L. Jackson, who was, to my knowledge, was I never knew he was a supporter of the minister or anything, but Allah touched his heart and he opened up his church, and he has a little baby dawn church in Fifth Ward. And brother, we had the largest turnout of the men's meeting of all of the meetings that the minister had throughout the nation. There were over 35,000 men at the men's only meeting. They were out on the lawn. They pulled their cars over on the side of the freeway and standing up on the freeway, watching and listening. It was the most beautiful thing you'd ever seen. And then, of course, after that, we headed to Chicago. And I remember kissing my wife at the time and my two boys, and telling them I was leaving. I didn't know if I was coming back. That's the mindset we had at the time, because we didn't know how the devil would respond to 1 million men showing up in Washington, D.C. But we were all prepared to go and lay down our life if necessary for this at the minister's call. And of course, he blessed us with the victory. It was a beautiful day.
Yes, sir. Okay, now when you say that, how did your wife look at you at the time when you said, I'm going off, to lay my life down if necessary? How did that go over?
I mean, really nobody said anything because we were convicted. It was like no point in trying to talk me out of it. We're going off to war. That's it. You know, nothing to say. You know.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. And now, being in Houston, the entire time that you've been there, has there ever been time that you were faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
We've had our skirmishes. We had skirmishes with the police, confrontations. I wouldn't say skirmishes. We were part of a march one time that marched down to the steps of the police station. And a brother got unruly, and the FOI had to teach him a little discipline.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'll never forget that the police came to find out, to look into what had happened, because the brother was saying we'd beat him up. And that was just this huge police officer that came. I mean, he had to be about 6'6", maybe 300 pounds. He was huge, big biceps. His shirt was cutting him. And he asked to speak to the person that was in charge. And they called for me, being the attorney. Where's the attorney? Where's the attorney? So I came up and stepped up to him. And brother, I had to look up at this man. But we marched with Allah. And brother, that huge man was so afraid. He started trembling. He started trembling in the face of the FOI. And told me he was going to just write a ticket and we could deal with it in court. He wasn't going to arrest anybody. He didn't want to question anybody. We're free to go on about our business, So Allah struck fear in his heart. And there were times when the police wanted to come into the mosque, and they would call me and say, the attorney, police here trying to come into the mosque. I say, don't let them in. And I would get in my car and run to the mosque and just face them and say, do you have a warrant? Where's your search warrant? And they'd make up some excuse and say, well, you don't have a warrant, you can't come in. And they would back down. I can't say that was never fear in my heart, but you overcome your fear, and fear of Allah removes all fear, brother. So
praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Beautiful, beautiful. And thank everyone. So many people were giving you comments and showing you love in the comments. What has been your greatest trial, in life, and how have you overcome that trial?
My greatest trial in life. Well, I think the trial in life is just to try to remain consistent and not let anything force you or influence you to leave the process. I mean, you always have bumps and hills and disagreements and think you've been treated unfairly and all these kind of things in the mosque.
Yes, sir.
But the struggle and the key is to stay in the process. Mr. Farrakhan said all the time, he is who he is because of the process. And if you jump out of the process, then you miss the opportunity to become who Allah is trying to make you into. So that's been the trial, is, through adversity, through having money. Having money can be an adversity, just like not having money can be an adversity. And I've been in both places. Had money I didn't know what to do with, and then didn't know what to do with the money I had, difficulty in relationships and marriage, all of these things. You just have to still find a way to stay in the process.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, sir. Beautiful. Okay, my next question is, what has been your greatest joy in your life tenure, sir?
My joy is having the opportunity and having enough sense to take advantage of the opportunity to walk with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mean, these teachings are life-saving. This past year, I had health challenges for an entire year. I caught the virus. First, I got infected with a mold infection. And then from the mold infection, I contracted the coronavirus shortly after that. And then I recovered from both of those, only to find out that I needed a major surgery on my cervical spine. And I came through that, and Allah has just blessed me with, I'm still in good health. I go to the gym, I work out, and I attribute it to trying the best I can to eat to live and follow the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with regard to our diet and way of life. And I see people around me dropping like flies, you know. So I'm just thankful, you know, for the opportunity to be with the minister in this time that we live in.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And we spoke earlier about offline about you being a grandfather. How's being a grandfather impacted your life?
Being a grandfather is the greatest joy in the world. I love my children, but I tell my son all the time, he's second place to my grandchildren.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have two granddaughters. My oldest granddaughter just graduated from high school. And I have another granddaughter and a grandson. And it is, anyone who has grandchildren, I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing. There's nothing like the joy of being a grandparent.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Yes, sir. What advice would you give to future fathers?
I'll give two pieces of advice. Of course, one is to try to rear your children with the knowledge of self, you know, the knowledge of the teachings of your Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I have found that you cannot force them to believe, you cannot force them to follow, but we have a duty and obligation to give it to them. And I found that even when we think they're acting other than themselves, they still have those teachings in them when you've given it to them. And another piece of advice I have for those who have children out of wedlock, and especially when they have sons out of wedlock. An older cousin told me when my first son was born out of wedlock, he told me, do not try to be a father and show up every 3 months or 6 months and want to give him a whooping. He said, you're not in the house with him. He said, the best you can do is try to become his friend. And I followed that advice, and I have an outstanding relationship with my son out of wedlock, because you know, he sees me as somebody he can confide in. We talk, we laugh, we do things together as brothers and friends. I mean, he honors me as a father, but they had to grow. I couldn't go in, you know, I've been absent 6 months and didn't want to show up with the belt. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I had to establish that bond first.
Okay, excellent. Can you let us know about the documentary that you were working on, and how did that come about?
Okay, I'm currently filming a documentary on the life of my maternal grandfather. His name was Chappie O'Shea, and that's the title of the documentary. Is Chappie O'Shea, and he was a pioneer, one of the pioneers in the community called Acres Homes in Houston. Back then, it was not a part of Houston. We called it Acres Home, Texas. And it was the largest unincorporated community of Black people in the South. And it was very similar to a Black Wall Street. It was self-sufficient in every respect. We had our own doctors, pharmacies, grocery stores, cab stands. In 1959, a group of Black businessmen from the community applied for a bus charter and got the first Black-owned bus charter in the South in 1959, the Acres Home Rapid Transit. We had our own buses. So in this documentary, I'm telling a story about the rise of this self-sufficient community and the life of my grandfather, who opened the first grocery store, full-service grocery store in the community. And then talking about where we are now with gentrification and the lack of business and the lack of entrepreneurship in the community. So it's kind of based around his life, but also the life of the community. So that's the story of Chappie O'Shea and the making of Acres Home. So look forward to it. I'll be sure and reach out to you and let you know. We hope to have it ready late this summer or early fall.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. It will be an honor, if you can come back once you're ready to premiere it, so we can help promote that, because we want more people to understand the value of doing for self, and to see that it was done, so that maybe inshallah we can do it again very soon.
Absolutely, brother. I'd be honored to.
Yes, sir. My next question for you: somebody in the comments said that you play the guitar.
I play at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love to play it. I've been playing for a long time. I'm not as proficient as I should be, but it's kind of therapeutic for me. So I do enjoy playing the guitar.
Yes, sir. Well, what are some of the musicians that inspired you to play the guitar?
Jimi Hendrix.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The
Hendrix, of course. Yes, I love Hendrix. I love Santana. And I love the guitar work of Curtis Mayfield.
Okay. Okay. Yes,
a lot of people know him as a singer and a songwriter, but he was a masterful guitarist. And even I've read that even Jimi Hendrix took influences from Curtis Mayfield.
I can see that. That's amazing.
So I studied Curtis.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And when you come back to talk about your the documentary that you're working on, maybe you can bring your guitar with you as well, so that we can hear some of your amazing music. Because I have a lot of musicians that come on and they play their instruments in the podcast, so that would be a great honor as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I look forward to that.
Yes, sir. What do you do for fun outside of playing the guitar?
Well, of course, playing music, playing the guitar. I still love working out.
Okay.
I still love being. Actually, like I said, I started in the martial arts at a young age, and then I kind of hit a phase where life just kind of took over and took me out of it. Some years ago, I went back and got my black belt. It's been about 5 years ago now I got my black belt. I was 63 years old when I got my black belt.
Praise be to Allah.
And so I still like working out. Now I'm progressing into yoga and Tai Chi. So that's some, and I like going, believe it or not, I'm a movie buff. I love going I haven't gone to the theater in over a year, but I love going to the theater. And I know it's not in How to Eat to Live, but I like to get me a bag of popcorn and watch a movie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Same here, sir. It's quite an addiction. They actually know me. Wherever city I go to a visit, they gonna find Josh is gonna get some popcorn and go watch some Netflix and watch.
Right.
They know me at the movies. They be like, you just need to get a membership up here. Just get a membership.
Right. Buy some stock or something.
Buy some stock. Yes, sir. Will you ever write a book on your personal life?
I didn't think so, but just recently, I'm the president and the chairman of the board of a nonprofit called the Acres Home Chamber for Business and Economic Development.
Yes, sir.
And we have a building. We've taken one of the rooms and turned it into a podcast room. And the sister that manages the podcast room, one day she just asked me, why don't let me start interviewing you? So every Tuesday, we didn't do it the last 2 weeks because of the filming of the documentary, but I've done about 3 sessions and they're just having me They started with elementary school and just going through my life. So after the second interview, I realized this is probably my book in the making, because they want to continue to interview me and let me tell whatever happened in my life story. So I guess one may be on the way. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good. I look forward to reading that as well. What would you like your legacy to be, Judge Muhammad?
You froze up, brother.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Yes, sir.
And I might add, I have published a book, and I have another one that I'm going to release. I've published A Case for Separation.
Okay.
Which is a collection of lectures and writings that I've done over the years, all of them touching on the matter of separation, dealing both from history, scripture, and law, dealing with our case for separation. And in connection with the documentary on my grandfather, I've also turned it into a novel. So I've got to complete it. I'm still editing it as a novel, but I intend to release the documentary and the novel. And then inshallah, hopefully we get funding sufficient to turn the story into a full feature length or a docuseries.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Well, anything that I can do to be a part of and be supportive, that's amazing, sir. That's amazing.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. But my last question for you, sir, was what do you want your legacy to be, Judge Muhammad?
I'm hopeful that my decision to become a Muslim and take the name of Muhammad will be a turning point in the trajectory of my family and legacy. And that somewhere down the line, maybe 1,000 years from now, they'll say great grandpa Warren Muhammad was the one who accepted Islam and turned us back to our own. So that's really what I want my legacy to be.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule. I want to thank everyone who is watching and continues to show love to the People's Podcast, especially once we put it on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.